Now, let's say you find yourself liking a girl. You start talking to her and you feel this electrical buzz that connects the two of you. And you can tell that she likes you a lot. The attraction here is at its highest. She's also excited to be with you. She shares all kinds of things about herself to you, and whenever you talk, her eyes get all wide and big. It's like you're both in your own world with no one else around. At first, you're both super excited and happy whenever you're together. This energy builds and builds until it hits a peak, but then over time, that energy, that excitement starts to fade. Now, this is when you start to worry because you see that you're losing her, even though you were so sure that she liked you just minutes before. You try really hard to make things exciting again, to reignite that fire, but in the end, nothing works and you both drift apart. Now, you, my friend, have just learned a tough lesson about life and love, and that is attraction has a deadline date. And the sad thing is that guys don't often realize that this is the reason why things didn't work out with her. They either blame themselves thinking it was a value issue, or they think that they didn't do enough to keep her attracted to him. But if only he knew the real truth of why things didn't work out with her, it's because in most cases, he did do enough to keep her attracted, but in the end, it was a failure to act quickly enough to keep the connection alive that led him to losing the girl. Now, I'm gonna keep it real with you. Naturally, I'm usually very cautious and I tend to avoid taking risks, and I tend to lean on the side of not taking action over taking action, just like many others probably do. However, for the longest time, I've been working hard to be bolder and to take more chances. So now I can say that I tend to take a lot more risks than most people do. But sometimes I still hesitate to take risks in certain situations, and because of this natural tendency that I had in the past for the longest time, I've missed out on, well, maybe hundreds of opportunities with women. This includes everything from not approaching beautiful women who were interested in me to not sealing the deal with women who I had in my bed. Some of these lost chances still bother me to this very day, like the light-skinned Salvadorian girl who I was crushing on for months in my third year of college. I had gone on about 6 dates with her, with the last date being on Valentine's Day and me taking her to a sushi restaurant and magically bringing her back to my place, only for my fingers to get action that night, leaving them all soggy and wrinkled. She denied when I tried to advance things further, and even worse, she slept over, and in the morning, I was hoping she would have changed her mind, but it was as if the attraction was long gone and she regretted even being there. Or how about that short, thick Mexican girl that I met on campus, also in my third year of college? I had invited to a banquet that an organization on campus was having. There was gonna be drinks and dinner. It was like a formal event. I wore slacks with a button-up shirt and a tie, and she had this sexy short dress that made her hourglass figure just pop. We had drinks, we danced, we vibed, and all that, and I was thinking to myself, I'm for sure gonna get it in. And on the Uber ride back home, we were kind of getting all touchy, and finally we got to my place and into my room, and now we're on my bed making out. Again, my fingers were getting all the action, and when I'm finally gonna go for the home run, she stops me. And inside, I'm like, what the heck? And I try again and again, and she stops me. So I just let my fingers have all the fun for like a good 30 minutes, and finally she gets all fed up and says, take me home. And there I go, like a loser, driving her all the way back home at 3 a.m. in the morning, back to her home, which was like an hour away. The only excitement that I had was me smelling my 2 fingers on the car ride back home. It's funny, like my friends used to call me Don Dedos back in college, pretty much meaning the king of fingering. That's how bad I sucked at closing the deal with girls. Oh, and how can I forget that time when some of my college friends invited me to a club? This was about a year after I graduated college, and I showed up and they had other girls at their table. And there was this slender, sexy, light-skinned Latina who caught my eye. She was the hottest one in the group, and me and her actually started vibing, and I took her to the dance floor, and we started dancing and grinding on each other. I remember she was wearing this short skirt, and I was groping her butt and feeling her smooth legs. And at one point in the song, she put her legs in between my thigh and started grinding it. It was super, super hot and sexy as if she was riding it. And at that point, I decided to kiss her, and we made out for like a minute straight. And that's when I took her outside, and I thought I was gonna get down to business in my car, but right before we got in, she was like, no, 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 let's go back inside. My friends are gonna be looking for me. I was so mad. I thought I had it in the bag, but I wasn't gonna force her inside my car. So we went back inside, and her friends ended up leaving right after. I was devastated when I got home because when I saw my pants, look, I was wearing black jeans, and in that spot where she was grinding on me, there was a strip of a dry, shiny white stain. Those were her juices. She was ready to get down, but I couldn't seal the deal. Just talking about these experiences gets me mad up to this very day. In all these missed opportunities, the attraction was there, but I failed to act on it correctly. I also thought that the attraction between me and these girls would last forever, but no, I didn't understand that attraction has a deadline date, and the connection between me and each of those girls would fade shortly after, and I never slept with any of them. These missed chances sting. You'll never forget them, but the reason you missed out on these amazing experiences to have with that girl is because you didn't take action. You didn't take the correct action steps, and women aren't going to be taking those action steps for you. That's your job to do as a man. They're waiting for you to take action, and while they wait, time is running out. So why does attraction have a deadline? If two people are meant for each other, you would think that they have all the time in the world to get together. I realized shortly after college, when I was starting to learn about how to get better with dating and women, that attraction doesn't last forever. As I started learning more and more about women, I looked back to all the times in which a girl would smile and flirt with me in class, but then would stop doing it after a while. And that's because I didn't make a move. So they lost interest and moved on. What was even more confusing was that after I didn't make a move because I was scared, they would behave straight up cold with me after. This came in the form of not paying attention to me anymore or not returning back my texts. And I didn't know what I was experiencing at the time, but this was a form of an auto rejection from them, and it was all my fault. It's like she gave up on me. She went super cold and her feelings got filled with hate and resentment towards me. And this happened because I didn't take action. When guys don't take action, women will give up and lose hope. And this is a very important lesson. But here's the funny thing. When I started to practice cold approach pickup more religiously, I was slapped with this lesson all over again. Like before, when I was in high school and college, the deadline for attraction with girls in my classes seemed to last for months or even years after we first met. But when it came to strangers that I just recently met while going out, that deadline date shortened to minutes or even seconds later after meeting them. At first, I didn't think it was the same thing. Like, how could it be? But like most guys would do at the time, I tried to increase my value. I got a well-paying job. I started wearing more expensive clothes. I started traveling to cool places. I went to a bunch of expensive events. I started going to high-end restaurants and exclusive nightclubs. But the more I pumped my value, the quicker girls lost interest in me, and this drove me crazy. But as time went on and I started getting more hands-on experience by approaching more women and going out on more dates with them, something finally clicked. I started talking less about myself and I let the girls do more of the talking. It felt very weird to do it at first, but it worked. And I also learned to act faster. I found out that I had a better chance of sleeping with the girl on the first date than on the second one, and this shocked the hell out of me. I used to think I shouldn't try to sleep with girls on the first date because I thought I might lose them that way. Or maybe I thought, she's a good girl, so I'm gonna take things slow. But it turned out that the opposite was true, and that not trying to sleep with them on the first date was making me lose them. And that's because attraction has a deadline. It's only good while it lasts. You have to strike while the iron is hot. If not, you're gonna miss your only chance. And once I started believing in this mindset, my dating life completely changed. No more beating around the bush thinking, I'll just wait a little longer before I do something. No more limited beliefs saying, it's too soon for this to happen. No more not action taking because, no, not enough time has passed. Instead, I started moving faster. I would take large leaps and cut corners whenever I had the chance in the interaction, and my results got a whole lot better. And even though I was getting these crazy results, I wondered, why is this happening? Why are women more willing to sleep with a man who moves fast with them? And why is there a deadline for attraction? And this is what I came up with. Guys think that the responsibility of attraction is just on them. They never think to consider that maybe women might be doing the same thing, and the truth is that they are. When I tell girls that a guy likes them, but let's say the girls aren't interested in him, sometimes the girls wonder if they did something wrong to make him like them. They feel like it's their fault that he's interested in them. On the other hand, if a girl likes you but you don't do anything, she might blame herself. She'll think that she didn't do enough to attract you. And feeling like you failed isn't fun. So women do what men do when they think someone doesn't like them back, and that is that they give up. But for a woman, it hits them harder. So in order to protect her ego, They shut themselves off from you and they act all cold and they cut you loose. She thinks to herself, like who needs him? Or who cares if he doesn't like me? And they can do that with ease because for a girl, it's so easy to get another guy. Now you may be thinking, but I told her that I liked her. And yes, that may be true, but you didn't tell her soon enough and you didn't show it with your actions. Sure, you may have tried, but your actions may have given off needy or desperate vibes. Here's the thing with women. They can change their minds about a guy in an instant. They can go from loving him and hoping he talks to them to hating him if he hesitates for even just 1 second. If you let her feel that feeling of hate towards you for just a few seconds and then you decide to approach her, well, by the time you are there in front of her, she won't even want to talk to you anymore. Sometimes the girls who seem interested in you, who gave you those wide Bambi deer eyes before you met them, will be the ones who are actually more stuck up than anyone else because they made their attraction for you too obvious, but you took too long to take any action and approach her. As a guy, this might sound strange to you, so let me explain. Once upon a time, I was really shy and I was scared of talking to people or going to parties. I said no to the cool kids on campus who invited me to their parties, and I would stay quiet when the popular girls would strike up a conversation with me because I was afraid. It sounds crazy, but it's true. The only way I got any attention was if people noticed me and they came to talk to me first. And let me tell you, it sucked. It really sucked to sit there waiting for someone to talk to me, waiting for that cute girl to flirt with me or ask me out. And if she didn't, sometimes I would just shrug and think to myself, well, who needs her? This is how women feel all the time because most of the time they're waiting for men to make a move. They're not gonna come up to you and start a conversation. This is not how things usually work. So all they can do is hope that you come to talk to them. All they can do is drop hints that they want you to stop making jokes and start getting to know them. All they can do is subtly suggest that they want you to take her back to your place. All they can do is joke about being together with you. And if you don't respond and take things forward, they will hate you for it and get cold on you and reject your future shots at getting at her. So what you need to do is get her while she's hot. So here are 3 things that I want you to do in order to take advantage of the attraction deadline. Number 1, I want you to pay attention to what women are saying. This includes both their words and their actions. Look at her eyes. Is she looking at you with interest? Look at how she's standing. Is she leaning closer to you? Look at how she responds to your physical touches. Does she let you keep your hand on her thigh? Listen to what she's saying. Is she asking about how far away you live or if you have any roommates? These are all signs that she wants you to take things to the next level quickly. Number 2, don't hesitate. Just go for it. If you're not sure if a girl wants you to make a move, give it a try anyway. If you fail, it's not a big deal and it won't set you back too much. She'll just know that you're a kind of guy that has intent. But if you don't try at all, you'll miss out because her interest will fade away. It's better to take action even if you're unsure, rather than do nothing at all and miss out on an opportunity to learn and improve. And number 3, keep things moving forward. I used to be guilty of staying in situations where nothing was progressing and I wasn't moving things forward with the girl. And I see a lot of guys doing the same thing. You're just floating around. Floating around and not moving will only lead to women to lose interest in you. If a conversation feels like it's going nowhere, it's time to take hard action and move things along. So don't let attraction hit the deadline. Acting before that attraction disappears will make a huge difference in your interactions with women, and women will appreciate that you took action on her interests and the hints that she was giving towards you before it became too late. And so will you, my friend.